Welcome to this episode of Safe Home for struggling teens and their families finding their healing path. I am Joy, a teen recovering from substance use, suicidal ideation, depression, and anxiety.
And I'm Joey's mom, Beth, and I am walking beside him as he works hard for his recovery while I work hard on my own personal growth and healing.
We have created this podcast to transform the pain we've endured over the last several years into helping other troubled teens and their loved ones. We want to share what we've learned, what we've seen, what has worked, and what hasn't. We are not experts in anything except our own stories, and we encourage you to seek out professional help if you are struggling. We have a list of resources in the description.
Please note that this episode contains some swear words, descriptions of drug use, and mentions of suicide attempts, and may not be appropriate for sensitive listeners or younger children.
We want to make sure everyone knows that this podcast is not glorifying or endorsing illegal activity or substance use. This podcast is for educational, prevention, mitigation, and harm reduction purposes.
So, Joey, what are the names kids are calling cannabis nowadays?
Well, it's still probably going to be called weed, cannabis, marijuana, but there's new ways of ingesting, vaping, smoking this substance now. So we could get into all the different types of ways you can take it.
Yeah, why don't we start with, let's start with eating it.
Eating it. Okay, so edibles.
What all kinds of food have you seen it in?
Everything. Well, the thing is, I'll break down the science right now, is that edibles are different compound than smoking it.
Oh.
Yeah, if you didn't know that, when you take an edible, it actually metabolizes in your, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it turns into THCA, which is more potent than just normal THC or Delta 9.
Okay, so you could really get into trouble with eating too many brownies.
Oh, yeah. That's why they say don't eat the whole brownie.
Don't eat the whole brownie.
Yeah.
Okay, so like brownies, what else? What else have you seen it in?
Brownies, cereal.
Gummy bears? I think
gummy bears. They're literally in everything. Literally in everything.
And I know it's not exactly the same, but CBD, at least in California, maybe everywhere, I don't know, it's in like lip balm and dog treats, and it's just everywhere.
Yeah, no. Well, the thing is that you have, for THC, like the one that's going to get you high, for the edibles, you have to actually activate the cannabis. Oh. Because you can't just ingest a nug of weed and get high.
Oh, what's a nug?
Okay, a nug is like the flower. It's just one little bud of like cannabis.
Okay. The
it's
actual
the flower.
Okay.
So you can't just take a flower and eat it.
It would do nothing for you.
It would do nothing.
Okay.
You have to actually activate the THC, so it will be THCA or a different THC, so it will activate in your stomach. Oh. That's for edibles.
Okay, so when you eat an edible, it takes a while for it to kick in, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
It has to reach your stomach.
Well, it depends on who you are, your body weight, everything, your metabolism. It could take from 30 minutes to 2 hours, maybe even 6 hours for some people, but it's really rare because it should hit you in like an hour.
Okay. And then are kids still rolling joints?
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's the traditional
practice. Is that
practice.
the main way kids are using it?
No.
No. What's
the main way kids are using it? Probably vaping. Vaping THC, but the OG way is to roll a joint or a blunt.
Okay, they call them blunts.
No, a blunt is actually with tobacco.
Oh, blunt is weed and tobacco.
Yes. Well, you wrap it in like a cigarello. That's what a blunt is.
Oh.
A blunt isn't a joint.
Oh. Joint? Well, okay, tell me the difference. The blunt has two things in it?
Okay. So a joint is just, look up raw papers. It's just like a hemp wrap with a filter in it.
Okay.
And then a blunt is usually no filter, and it's like a cigarello. You break it open, take all the tobacco out, and then fill it with weed.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Before all this happened in our family, I had no idea that you could vape cannabis. I thought vaping was just nicotine to replace cigarettes.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people actually don't know that still, but today I would assume a lot of people do know that you could vape THC and nicotine.
The kids know that.
Kids know that, obviously, but well, actually not a lot, because it's in this little circle that I'm in. It seems like everyone does know, but to like someone who's not a user of substances, they probably wouldn't know. But that's why we're telling them, you know?
That's right. That's why we're trying to help people open their eyes. Okay, so vaping. Can you give us a primer on vaping, like the equipment? Like, how would a parent or a teacher or a coach know what a vape pen is?
There's so many different types out there that it's hard to just say this is what it looks like.
And you guys change it all the time.
Yes.
And the companies, whoever's behind it all, changes it all the time. So it's hard to keep ahead of it.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Possible.
You really can't. But the basic idea of what they look like are just like a stick, a USB looking thing that people are sucking on. That's like that's the giveaway. If you're seeing someone's like hiding their like hand and like leaning down when they're like in class or something, you know something's up. So
I know you guys used to hide it inside your jacket or sweatshirt or something.
well, you just blow the smoke into your jacket. So
Oh, yeah.
like, the smoke doesn't. Well, okay. This is something that I didn't know for a long time, but nicotine smoke dissipates. THC smoke doesn't.
Oh. So that's why you put it down your shirt?
Yeah, so then you can just air it out and it gets into your clothes instead of it just wafting into the air because it will not dissipate. The nicotine you can zero in your lungs, which zeroing is a term where you just hold it in and it goes away. But you can't zero THC because it will just stay in your lungs and you blow it out and the whole cloud comes out.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Huh. Now, can you get cannabis with all the different flavors like you can nicotine?
Yes, those are terpenes, actually. Terpenes are what flavors the world. Terpenes are in oranges. Terpenes are in grapes. So they take the terpenes out of certain foods and then put them into the pods, cartridges, disposables to make them taste good. But there are natural derived terpenes from cannabis, which they put into the pods. Okay, I actually should probably talk about the differences between, or what is distillate and live resin and what hashes and stuff, because it's all different. So actually, distillate is distilling the THC to a point where it's concentrating all the THC. So that's why distillate, if you see distillate, is going to be the most potent.
Because it's like, distilled down.
It's distilled, it's concentrated. It's concentrate. Okay. That's what they call it.
Okay.
A concentrated THC. So it's probably going to be 87 to 99% THC, which today that's what people are searching for, the highest potency.
Okay.
Well, if you're looking for that. But then there is live resins, which is when you take the flower right from when it is fully grown, you freeze dry it, and then you do this process to where there's no distilling it. You just there's different types of ways to get live resin, but you don't do anything where you concentrate it. You freeze dry it, and then it's sort of like keef comes out.
Sort of like what?
Okay, keef is like the little dust that comes off in a grinder.
Oh, how do you spell that?
KIEF.
Keef. Okay.
Like Chief Keef.
Okay.
So they take the keef from this freshly froze drying weed, and then they heat it up under a press, and they press it, and out comes this concentrated THC that wasn't even distilled at all. So it's the most pure way of getting THC out without distilling it.
Okay, so that's really kind of like the natural way.
Yeah, that's what everyone is kind of going for now. The live resins, the non-distillates.
So if you're like a connoisseur of
if you're a connoisseur of weed, you're gonna go for the live resins, the ones that actually have the real terpenes in it, not like the blueberry terpenes that the kids want. You know?
Okay. Yeah, what flavors are the kids going for?
Anything that's fruity, anything that's sugary. But for me, I'm like a connoisseur, so I like to get the real terpenes, the real flavors out of what I'm getting high with.
So you want to taste the cannabis itself?
Yes.
Okay.
There's companies out there there's actually been a lawsuit with some of these companies that say they're live resin, but they're not. They're actually distillate.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you're unusual, though. I bet most kids like the sweet stuff.
My little friend group, we all like.
Oh.
we're the connoisseurs of it, you know.
Okay. Well, bravo. Well, hopefully you can become a connoisseur of something else.
Yeah.
I like the energy, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you call it? The old-fashioned way, where you just roll a joint. What is that called? That's not a distillate or a live resin.
That's just straight smoking it.
Straight smoking it, and that's not nearly as powerful as these other two ways.
Okay, so it gets you the same high, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Let's say you never smoked before, and then you have the decision to smoke a distillate pen, a live resin pen, or joint. I would say just pick the joint, because like the harm reduction, if there's different levels to those. Joint is going to give you the entourage effect. It's going to give you a body high. It's going to give you different, and it's not going to be as potent, obviously. But the live resin, that's going to be in the middle. It's going to be 60-70% THC. It's going to be it's kind of stepping up.
Okay.
And then the distillates are where you get to like 80-90%. And that, if you're a first timer, that's what I actually took for my first time. I went into complete psychosis.
Whoa.
And I was in baseball.
Okay, we're going to talk about that later.
Okay.
Hang on to that.
Okay.
Because I want to finish up about the vaping, and because you guys talk about pods and what are all these different
throw your questions
parts?
at me. I'm ready.
Okay, a pod is what is.
Give me what you think it is.
I think it's kind of like those coffee pods people put in their coffee makers. So it's like a little dish of it that you somehow put into your vape pen. Is that close?
Sort of.
Smaller,
it's the same concept. Obviously, it's smaller, more discreet. But the pod is filled with the concentrate, live resin, or concentrate usually, or live resin, and then there's a coil in it that heats up, and then cotton, which soaks in the THC or the concentrate, and then the battery, which the pod goes into, heats the coil up, which heats the THC up, which vaporizes it at like a certain temperature, because you don't want to combust it when you're vaping it, because combustion is different compared to vaping.
Oh, right. Combustion is what a cigarette does.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is for probably another episode, but there's a thing called the IQOS out now, where you take dry herb tobacco and vape it.
Oh, okay. Well,
so it's healthier, but still underneath the name of a big name tobacco industry. So it probably is going to be marketed and really expensive.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk more about that in our nicotine episode.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So pod is one way to get cannabis out of a vape pen.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So
what other ways?
Pods are usually they're only for a certain battery.
Okay, so it fits certain vape pens.
Yes,
but
pods. There is a cartridge, which is a 510 thread, which fits all 510 thread batteries. So a cartridge is universal to the battery.
What's 510 thread?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
To be honest with you,
the
I think
type of battery.
It's like the millimeter or the threads or something.
Oh, okay.
But it just screws onto the battery, and then the cartridge sits on top.
Okay, so you either have a pod or a cartridge?
Yes.
Okay, so pod, cartridge. Are there any other mechanisms that you could choose?
Oh yes, there's dabbing.
Dabbing?
Yes.
What does that mean?
It's where you get your concentrate that is just in a little dish. They sell it to you in a little dish, and then you have to buy like a bong.
Oh, okay.
But then you get, instead of a bowl piece, which is where you put the flower in, you get a banger. And it's a glass piece which you heat up to a certain temperature, and then you put the concentrate in. And then it smokes like a bong, like the function of a bong, but it is vaporized instead of combusted.
Okay. And wow. Does that make it stronger in your system to vaporize it, or is it the same?
It's probably the same.
Probably.
It gives you THC.
It's a tiny bit, quote unquote, healthier for you than combusting it and inhaling it, right?
I've read some research that does say yes, that's true, but the science isn't out for me to say that it's black or white,
right.
You know? So I don't know.
They're both really bad for you.
Yeah.
But okay. I know originally I think the vape people thought, oh, this is much better than smoking it, and maybe it'll help people get off of cigarettes.
No, but it hooked a whole nother generation. Yeah.
Way bad. Yeah, I don't know if they intended to do that or not, but it's
most likely
hugely impacted this generation here. Okay, so any other technical things or terms that you think we should know?
Well, yeah. There's not just vaping it. You can still smoke it like a flower. People do that still. So paraphernalia. So there's pipes, there's bongs, there's one hitters,
what's a one hitter?
It's either like a joint that's really small that you can hit in one hit.
Okay.
Or it's a little glass thing that is really small and you could fit like one little hit of weed in it.
Okay, so like we said about the cough medicines, every substance has something good that people get out of it. What is it that people enjoy from using cannabis?
It's different for everyone.
Oh, okay.
Because some people hate it the first time because they get into a state of psychosis and they don't know what's happening. They lose reality. Some people doesn't affect them at all. But then some people get that average high. And the people that do get that average high are looking for an escape, I feel. I feel they're insecure, or not in a bad way insecure, but they just don't know how to handle their pain. Mm-hmm. So when this is introduced to them, why not take it? It helps. It numbs me. It takes me away from this reality.
So it dulls the pain, whatever pain you're having.
It dulls the pain in which you are feeling at that moment. But it doesn't work like that forever. Tolerance is a thing. Okay,
right. I've heard you say tea break.
Yes, tea break is where you take a tolerance break. It's like a week to 3 months.
Where you don't take it at all and kind of build up your tolerance again.
Tolerance, and then once you go back to it, you're going to get smacked.
Okay, all right. Then it's going to hit you hard again.
Yeah.
Okay, so people use it to relax and kind of mellow out any sort of anxiety or pain.
That's probably the underlying reason for anyone to get high.
Okay, right.
But there is people that are searching to get fucked up or really just messed up.
And I never thought you could get that messed up with weed. I thought, okay, you're just going to eat Cheetos and be kind of lazy for a while. But I didn't really realize you could get really badly messed up.
You can never come back.
Wow.
Like, I know people that smoked weed for a little bit and then they've changed. They're not the same people.
The psychosis you're talking about?
It's a form of psychosis. I'm sure it is like they're prone to something in their family that in their DNA they have like schizophrenia, psychosis, or something. So it just wasn't for them.
Okay, so they take maybe a big hit of it and then it just sends them off
to the next reality. Yeah.
Wow. And you said that happened the very first time you used it.
Yeah, but I came back.
But you came back.
Luckily, because I remember that I was playing baseball and I just remember not being able to like comprehend what I was doing. I was like a ball. What is ball? like ball. Like I couldn't remember what a ball was.
Wow, that's very dangerous.
Yeah, no.
Wait a second. You used cannabis before a baseball practice?
Oh,
I mean, your first time.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I remember vividly that I ripped it in class. One of my teachers, one of my favorite teachers actually, and I was walking through the hallways and it hit me. I was like, okay, this is it. Okay. But then it kept coming.
Okay, let's back up a second. You experienced cannabis for the first time in class.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So
that was actually really bad because setting is a psychedelic. People don't know that. It's a psychoactive chemical that affects your mind. It's not like nicotine where it's non-psychoactive. It's a psychoactive substance.
So kids are using cannabis in class. This still kind of, I've known about this now for several years from you, and it still just blows me away. How can kids use it in class?
Well, think about back when you were like in school. Wasn't there like that stoner?
Oh yeah, yes, but they had to go down the sidewalk and across the street, and or they skipped class or whatever. They weren't doing it in class because I suppose because it would smell.
True, but people still smoke joints in class, or not class, but in the bathrooms.
Oh yeah, in the bathrooms.
They smoke bongs in the bathroom. They smoke pipes. It's not like if an addict will do anything to get their fix.
Yeah.
So if they're fiending at school, they're gonna do it.
Okay, so your first hit of cannabis in class, and then you left. Started walking out of school to baseball practice, and you're like, whoa.
Oh, my frames per second got really slow.
Frames per second. Oh, okay. So.
Yeah, like it looked like I was like glitching through reality.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you're supposed to go play baseball.
Yeah, I somehow did it.
You did?
Oh, the next day I actually it was a game.
Oh my God.
I played outfield and I caught a ball.
You did?
Under my second time under the influence of cannabis, which blows my mind because I was not there. I don't know how I played baseball.
Wow. Now this explains why your performance went kind of south.
Yeah.
In your
actually,
sophomore year.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, because I actually started hitting a lot better. Oh, actually, no, that's not true.
Yeah, no, it went bad. Yeah, we were like, he's forgotten how to hit. Yeah, but I had no idea because you know what? I thought having you in the baseball team, the high school baseball team, was our insurance policy against drug abuse because I thought Joey would never jeopardize his place on the team. And of course, if anyone found out, he'd be kicked off the team and he would never want to do that. And of course, and these are athletes, they wouldn't want to abuse their body. So I thought, oh, we're free and clear. Joey won't do drugs as long as he's in baseball. And then how ironic and depressing that is who introduced you to you.
Actually, it wasn't a baseball kid that introduced me to
it wasn't
cannabis.
A baseball kid?
It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
The baseball kid introduced me to psychedelics.
Oh, hey. Baseball kid introduced you to psychedelics. Okay, great. Okay. Well, I'm glad you didn't get hit by the ball or, hit somebody else. That would have been terrible.
Oh, no. Yeah, I was risking my safety and others' safety while doing that.
Yeah, scary. And is that the psychosis you're talking about where everything feels really out of whack? Is that what you're talking about? Psychosis?
No,
or is that
psychosis
just the high?
is losing touch of reality. And I could get deeper into that, but I think in another episode we'll talk about psychosis. So, but a basic breakdown is losing touch of reality.
Okay. And I am pretty sure that this is the piece that's why teenagers should not be using this substance.
Oh, for sure. It affects your mental health. If you go through psychosis, I believe psychosis is an ego death. An ego death shows you that you are not like the center of your life. Everything is one. Everything is all.
Like the Matrix or something.
Literally.
Okay.
So that is what affected me and broke me down and got my mental health really down, low, is that realizing that there's more. And that's all I can say about that. Is there that it affected me to a point where I was questioning my reality.
Right. You wanted to get into a higher consciousness and
escape from this reality.
And I believe teenagers are much more susceptible to this psychosis from cannabis than adults.
Well, yeah, I would assume because your brain is not fully developed.
Not developed yet, yeah.
But anyone with psychosis or schizophrenia or any of those types of illnesses in their family or in their that are prone to it, if you wait longer and then you're older and you take the cannabis, it will instantly snap you into schizophrenia or like because it takes time to develop those diseases.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But getting this psychosis from a large dose of
what you were saying that it is bad for kids, yes, it's true, because then you're opening the world of what could happen to you later on earlier. Yeah.
Wow. All right. And can a kid get this psychosis from just a small amount, or do you have to take a lot of it?
You could, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think you have to have like a certain amount, that the psychoactive amount, to where it would put you into that psychosis.
Be dangerous for that.
Because at small doses, it doesn't really affect your mind. It really affects your body, and that's why people use it for cancer and stuff. But at high doses, they use it for cancer too, to really affect, to get rid of the pain and stuff that they're mentally going through.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know it helps a lot of people. And in a small dose, or maybe just like adults that use it on the weekend or whatever. All right. Yeah. But it is addictive in a certain way, right?
For me, it was mentally addictive.
Mentally addictive. So not physically addictive. You don't have to go to a detox to get off of it.
No. Well, sometimes you get I know some people that get sweats and they can't eat after. So it's a little bit of a physical withdrawal. But usually for most people, it's just a mental addiction.
Like, oh, I need that.
Yeah, it's because it's been your coping mechanism. So it makes sense that you're going to go back to something that you're used to.
Right.
It's familiar.
I think a lot of people think it's not addictive. And so that's why they think it's not so bad. It's not addictive.
No one really knows until they know.
Right.
You know?
And maybe it's addictive for certain types of people who are maybe predisposed
to addiction and stuff, or alcoholism. It really depends on who you are and your brain chemistry, because different people have different brain chemistry, which can affect how a drug affects you. So no one who smokes pot is going to get the same effect. Right.
It's very individual, and you don't really know until you're getting into it, and then it might be too late.
Yeah.
Now, there are some well-known negatives to using weed. It kind of makes you lazy, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, okay, I could break down strains for you right now.
Okay.
There's like millions of strains or thousands of strains, but there's 3 basic strains.
Okay.
Indica, sativa, and hybrid. I don't know if you heard of those. Okay, indica is usually the one that's going to make you sleepy in the couch.
Okay.
Sativa is the one that's going to make you up, energized.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought it just always made you kind of sleepy.
No, there's different strains. And then there's hybrid, which gives you an even balance.
A little bit of both.
Usually.
Okay. So the stoners are taking the indica one.
You can't
like
label
the traditional
a stoner
stoners.
like that's not a label you should put someone under.
Oh, I shouldn't use that word anymore.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just that because people who ingest cannabis are just gonna smoke, or eat it. They're not strictly doing it to just be lazy, No. Right. But it kind of is an effect, right? It kind of makes you unmotivated and. Yeah, but they're not doing that just to be lazy. They're smoking. It's just a coincidence that that's what happens. Right. They're not lazy to start with. Then they take cannabis
it's just kind of an effect of the cannabis.
And some people don't even get lazy. I know people that get so active when they're on cannabis that
Really?
they clean, they just run, they go out and run, they work out. It's not what a lot of people think.
Oh, I'm working on old stereotypes, perhaps.
Yes, you very much are.
All right, like Beavis and Butthead kind of.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead got it right though. But
They were right.
they got it basically right. But,
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of what I have in my head.
yeah, but those are like the like those like
They think they're hilarious.
yeah, you think you had the most outrageous thought, but it was literally just like the microwaving turning on or something like that.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Did it affect you in that way? Did it make you feel tired or?
Oh yeah, I'm the type of person that gets affected very bad. Like I will just sleep.
Yeah.
I will sleep the day away because it's after I've dabbled with psychedelics, this is actually something that people should know. If you dabble with psychedelics, marijuana will never be the same.
Oh.
Because it's a psychedelic. If you take a harder psychedelic, it will show you the world of psychedelics. So when you take marijuana, it opens your eyes to the psychedelic part of it.
But you're like, oh, but I want more. And
No,
then,
it's like, for me, I was like, damn, I just want my old high back. I don't
Always
want this
chasing that
trippiness. I don't want this weird stuff that happens when I'm on weed. I just want to be high.
but is it impossible to get that back again?
Oh yeah, you never can get your first high back. Mm-hmm. That's very true for opiates too.
Mm. Is there any other things that make it bad for you?
Drug testing for jobs.
Oh yeah, it's hard to get a job if you're because how long does cannabis stay in your system?
Usually a month.
A
or
month.
two. Yeah,
A month
but
or
if you
two.
detox, like with drinking a lot of water, peeing a lot, it will come out in like less than a week.
Oh, okay, you could really work it, but
Yeah.
it's not if they surprise you with a drug test.
Oh, you're screwed. You're screwed.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
So, oh boy.
Oh, I should also talk about Delta 8. Do you know what Delta 8 is?
No, is it related to COVID Delta?
No.
Different
Delta 8 is actually part of cannabis. It's there's normal THC, which is sold in like dispensaries, is Delta 9. Delta 8 is what is a new trend that people have actually figured out that to get it legally.
Oh.
So it's just one like molecule or compound off. So in the like federal law, it says like Delta 9 THC is federally illegal.
Oh.
But Delta 8 isn't. So you can find Delta 8 in a smoke shop. That's how I usually get high.
Okay, so a smoke shop which typically would just sell nicotine.
Vapes. Yeah, nicotine. Now they're able to sell THC.
With this kind of loophole.
Yes, it's a loophole.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, so it's not as potent as Delta 9, but it still gets you
Gets you
that
close.
psychoactive high.
Oh man. What about if you use cannabis and then drive? Is that dangerous?
If you have a tolerance, I would say no, because you don't know how many people are out there that are high when they're smoking.
Yeah,
Or high
it's-
when they're driving. So yeah.
It doesn't make it as dangerous as alcohol.
Oh no, you're not as impaired.
Right.
But you are. So for some people, they're very impaired, and
Yeah.
I just would recommend not driving while under the influence of anything.
Sure.
Really,
Absolutely.
even like psych meds, it could affect your mental like processing. So
Yeah.
you could essentially be affected while driving under any medication, but usually the ones they give you wouldn't do that to you.
I am super grateful that when this all happened, you were only 15.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
so
I mean,
the driver's license, you still don't have a driver's license. You're 17 now.
Yeah.
But thank God, because
Oh no, because I would have been behind the wheel under the influence of multiple things.
that's super terrifying.
Yes, and I've been in the car with people under the influence of multiple things, which
Yes.
is a scary thing that I think about now. But in the moment, I was under the influence. I didn't care.
Right. So you combine a couple of you guys doing this. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and it gets out of hand.
Yeah, because your frontal lobes haven't developed yet until they're 20. And I think until you're 25, your cognitive part of your brain is not fully developed. So your decision making, your risk taking, your inhibitions, and your like, oh, what the heck? You only live once, YOLO.
Yeah.
And kids are just not super wise, and it's not your fault, really. It's just biology.
It's literally just biology.
You're not ready yet.
We're supposed to be nurtured and taught, but in this society, no one knows.
Yeah.
No one knows. Because it was a stigma. Reagan, the war on drugs, screwed.
Oh yeah, the war on drugs. Yeah. We can do a whole episode or a whole series on that.
Oh, yeah. It screwed the potential of research for multiple drugs.
That's terrible.
It's sad. It's sad.
Well, there was one time I was trying to find you. You had run away, and I called the cops in the local town, and I said, he's using drugs and I just don't know where he is. Can you help me find him? And can you help us? And he's like, what drugs is he using? I'm like, well, he vapes nicotine and cannabis. And he's like, oh, okay, he's fine. And I'm like,
That pisses a parent off, and that pisses me off because I was in a bad place. I was not good. I was not good. Obviously, if I was running away, I'm not good. I'm like, that pisses me off.
He wanted me to say opioids or meth or something.
No, because that's what we think is affecting our kids. But no, it's all drugs. All drugs is the way to escape.
It's been very, very frustrating. That aspect of it is incredibly frustrating. It's like everyone is just blind to it for some reason.
Well, it's not always their fault because they were probably taught differently. Yeah. Taught wrong, taught something that wasn't true. So they're basing their reality off their beliefs and what they've been taught. So not facts.
Right.
And not the truth of what is actually happening to kids.
Right. Because they didn't have a Safe Home podcast.
No, they didn't.
Okay. So I think you said in an earlier episode that cannabis was your very first substance you used out of everything.
For psychoactive.
Oh, for psychoactive.
Yes.
You vaped nicotine before that.
I smoked cigarettes before.
Oh, smoked cigarettes and vaped before that.
Yeah.
Okay, so cannabis is your first psychoactive. Okay, very good. And for any of our listeners who are wondering why I don't know this stuff, I don't know why I don't know it. Joey's mental health, and it's just been chaos for a couple of years until pretty recently. And Joey's been living with his dad for a very long time. So I haven't had access to all the details, which probably has saved my sanity in some ways. I don't know what is happening to Joey. But anyway, that's why I'm surprised at some of these things. This is the first time we're sitting down to talk, details about it.
Yeah.
What was the reason you used it that very first time in class? Why did you think that was the next step to take?
Okay, so I've actually always been interested in smoking. I used to actually roll up sticky notes and smoke them.
Really? Like you'd start them on fire?
Yeah. When I was like 6.
What?
Yeah, I've always been interested in smoking. I don't know why. It's just been weird. I've always watched people on TV smoking and stuff.
They make it look kind of glamorous.
They make it look cool, right? Yeah. So I was like, oh wow, I just want to hold that smoke in and blow it out and stuff. But when I was first offered it was a vape pen. It was a brass knuckles. I can tell you that.
What is that?
It's just a brand. It's like under black market, boof ass cannabis, but
a black market what?
It's like a black market cart.
Cartridge,
yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I bet this is like nicotine, right? So my friend handed it over. I was like, okay. And he's like, just rip it, man. And I'm like, okay, bet. And then I just ripped it as long as I could, not knowing what it was. I'm thinking it's nicotine, right?
Oh, you thought it was nicotine?
Yeah, I thought it was nicotine. So he essentially laced me.
Did he know he was doing that to you?
Yeah.
He was doing that to be mean or to
No,
trick you?
he wanted me to enjoy the high, but he was like, he didn't really know how it would affect me in the future.
Oh my God.
And how it would affect him. So, but yeah, it was unknown. And then I was like, where's the throat hit? And then I just realized, I was like, oh shit.
Because the throat hit is what you get from nicotine.
Yeah. You don't really get like a throat hit from weed, but you get a lung hit. And I was like, oh shoot, this is not nicotine. And I was like, oh well.
Okay.
With my brain, I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Let's try
it. Let's try it.
Always
So
up
then
for
I
an
just walked out
adventure.
to practice, and then it hit me, and I was like, oh, this is what it is. And then it showed me what it took me down that path of searching for that high again.
Wow. Now, how did you said that you got this particular kind came off of the black market? Where do you guys get this stuff?
Well, now you could get it from black market, like drug dealers and stuff. But dispensaries, you can have. Well, actually, now if you, it's really easy now. When you turn 18, when I turn 18 or something like that, it's easy for kids to get medical cards now.
Oh, you just get a medical card and go to a dispensary and get it.
You could get it.
And then you have an older brother that is over 18 and 18.
Oh yeah, you have to go ask your older brother, hey, can you give me some of this? Blah 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 blah. There's so many ways to do that.
Okay, so you get it from a drug dealer, and when you get it from the underground like that, could it be laced with other stuff
It could be laced with anything.
Know?
It could be laced with fentanyl. It could be laced with meth. It could be laced with Molly. It could be MDMA. It could be laced with anything.
Anything. Wow.
Yeah.
So, so kids, you wouldn't. They're pretty strict at the dispensaries, right? A younger than 18 kid couldn't just go get it there.
Certain dispensaries are really regulated, but like there's underground dispensaries which are not like doing taxes, and they're just swerving all the government stuff because it's still federally illegal.
Is it like a storefront though?
Yeah, it's a storefront, but it's like blacked out windows and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Not a big sign saying weed, it's low key.
Oh, you got to know where it is.
Yeah, you got to know where it is.
Cash.
You got to, pay cash. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. All right. I distinctly remember a time where you had it delivered to you and you made that work for yourself. How would a delivery guy give weed to a 15-year-old? Tell me that.
Okay, there's different ways of working the system. Just have a guy that doesn't care.
Yeah. Because these guys that drive this delivery truck around,
they're smoking.
They're smoking themselves. Are there any other ways that adults should know how kids are getting a hold of this stuff? Is it sold at school?
Yes, it's sold at school. You can't really do anything about the things at school. That's like the hardest. So if you're suspicious of your kid like doing anything, just be honest with them. Don't sneak around and try and drug test them. Be very open with them. Come to an agreement that I want the best for you. I obviously don't want you doing drugs. But if you're already doing it, do it safely, please. That's the whole harm reduction idea, is that you don't shame someone, you just help them through it.
And if it's between taking a pod or an edible or what's the safest way? What's a harm reduction way to deal with that?
The best. Okay, so if they're vaping right now and they tell you that, I would say you could go to edibles. That would just take a low dose of edibles. It will get you the same high, but you just are not destroying your lungs.
Yeah, those vape pens are pretty dangerous, and we don't really know the long-term effects.
Well, the black market ones are the ones that were killing
they had
people
the vitamin E.
because the vitamin E. Yes, that's what actually one of my friends had to be hospitalized. He almost died. And it was. I didn't know him at that time, but
what happened to him?
He told me he got like a box of fake carts, smoked them all, like 50 carts, thinking that they weren't. They're real THC, and they weren't just hitting him. But then he was smoking all of those, getting all that vitamin E in his lungs, and just collapsed his lung.
Man. Yeah, and he almost died. Whew. Yeah, because I think you told me that story before, and he just all of a sudden couldn't breathe.
It was like a slow, just like kind of like heavy breathing. Like you started really slow, and then like he couldn't breathe at all. Then he was like hospitalization. You know.
Well, he's lucky he survived that. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so edibles, at least you don't have the lung issue.
Yeah.
But you could really overdo it with the edibles
Yes,
too.
you can. You can lose yourself on edibles more easily than probably smoking.
Right. But what about, would just taking CBD do it for anybody? Or
no, it's not psychoactive.
Not psychoactive. So the piece that everyone's wanting is the THC.
Yes.
The CBD is good for your joints or whatever.
Yeah. If you have like, there's 1-to-1 THC pods where it's like THC and then CBD, which actually is really good for people that have like joint problems, or like I would say cancer patients would use the 1-to-1s because it gives you the THC and the CBD,
and it helps you eat.
Yeah, and it helps
gives
you
the
eat.
munchies. So if you're having trouble getting food down or keeping weight on,
it's not the only thing to do. You can obviously get help from others, therapy, just talking to people, reaching out, and you don't want to just go straight to a substance to help for an ailment.
Right. Yeah. Let's find the root cause of whatever substance or whatever habit or dysfunctional thing that you're trying to do that's not working for you.
Yeah.
So how do you get off of cannabis? It's everywhere and it's so easy to get. And how do you get off of it?
It's the person's decision. You can never make someone. It's their decision to get off of it, and they have to realize what it's doing to them. Because some people, they will never get off of it and it will never affect them.
Yeah, some people handle it just fine, right? Especially if you're grown up.
Yeah. Well, not always a grown up. Some people that are my age, they just smoke it or eat it or whatever.
And they're doing fine in school, and
they're fine. They're going to college. They get to 4-year, like they're set, but they still do it.
Is this the type of people like, okay, so I'm a sugar addict.
Yeah.
Are these the type of people that can eat like a half a cookie and then leave the rest?
Exactly.
Oh.
Yes.
They can eat moderately. They can use cannabis moderately.
Yeah. And that's when I wouldn't say addicts are strictly not able to moderate it. They can moderate it. It's just the fact that they can't go without it.
Yeah. You just need it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the process that you made to say, okay, I'm done with this?
It was seeing how it affected my family life and my friendships and my mental health, especially my mental health, that I was like, it's not worth it no more. It's not worth the pain that I have to go through. And just getting off of it for the time I have is teaching me that it was bringing me down very much so. Yeah.
You're like a whole different person. What have you noticed as far as your moods and your physical?
Physically, I can see clear.
Like literally see clear?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like literally, because it fogs up your vision. It's psychedelic.
Oh.
So it affects your vision. And also, I can breathe better. I can... what else is there?
Do you feel more awake and alive?
Yeah, I feel a lot more awake because whenever I'm on it, obviously I'm the one who gets like really tired and slumped. So, yeah, I'm a better person. I think a more productive person when I'm not on it. So that's why I'm going to continue not being on it.
Yeah, you're kicking butt with this podcast, and I mean, you're ready to go.
Oh yeah,
let's get this thing started. You know?
I'm so ready for this to help others. I want this to help others. That's my goal, is to help others, bring this issue to light of mental illness, drug abuse in teens that a lot of people don't understand or know.
Yeah, when you were on weed, that you would never have had energy to start something brand new that no one's ever done before.
No, I would probably have a great idea about it, but never have the motivation to do.
Right. Lots of good ideas.
Yes.
And the follow through.
No.
Okay. what should parents and other adults and authority figures do to help kids either not get involved with cannabis at all or help them get off of it?
Nurturing. Nurturing, never shaming. Like, never shame someone for anything. Because nurturing is the best way to help anyone. Nurture them. Tell them it's okay. It's okay that you're struggling. You can get through it. And I will be there to support you through this. Not shame them and say, you're doing this wrong. You're doing everything that I don't want you to do. Change up the wording. Say, this is not what I hope for you. I know you can do better. But let's work together when you're ready to help you get through this bump in the road.
So the kid or the person who's addicted to any substance, they have to come to that readiness themselves, though, right?
Yes, they can't be forced to do it.
No one can be forced to be ready. But saying things like, you'll never get anywhere, or you're ruining your life, or that kind of thing, that doesn't help anything.
It makes it worse.
Yeah, it makes you want to go smoke.
Escape. It makes you want to escape that because you're feeling shamed, and you don't want to feel shamed. Shame is a negative emotion. You want to be nurtured. That's all I can say. Is you want to be nurtured through pain.
Yeah. So obviously, there's some sort of pain involved if you're using substances. So if the support people around you could help you figure out what that pain is and how to handle it, how to get some sort of therapy or some sort of treatment for the pain, not for the addiction necessarily, but for the actual pain that's causing it. Instead of saying, what's wrong with you, say, what happened to you?
Yes.
What happened to you?
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Figure out what happened to you. Why are you in so much pain that you smoke cannabis in the middle of class?
Yeah.
What brought you to that point? Figure that out. But I bet a lot of kids are very secretive about this because I know they get in super big trouble. And
because most likely their parents will not react in the right way. And this is why we're helping those parents, those teens prepare for that confrontation with their parents, with their kids. It's to be a nurturing time, not a shameful time, because that's the exact opposite of what a kid needs at that time. They need support.
Right. Wow. Okay. That's really deep. That's really a lot. That's a lot.
I feel so good after this that it was for me to vent about my experiences, and I'm so excited to keep doing this with you.
So it's helpful for you to tell these terrifying stories.
Yes, because I'm not just holding it in. I'm explaining them, and that's what a lot of more people need to do, is not be afraid.
Yeah, just bring it out into the light.
Yeah, and do it with someone you trust, obviously, but and that cares. But you need to share your experiences. You can't just live in it because you are perceiving things that may not be true. Right.
Well, I hope that that kids or adults that are trying to get off of it can find the help that they need. We will have resources listed in the description of the episode, so check that out and find a therapist or a listening ear, even if it's not your parents, or find another adult or another peer or another friend that can be that listening ear, that nurturing presence that can help you get what you need to heal. Thank you, Joey, for sharing your story. I am so proud of you. I can't even stand it. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
and
you
I'm so glad you didn't die any of the many ways that you could have died along the way with cannabis and all the other things. And I'm just so glad that we're at this point where you're able to take all of the many struggles that you've had, dark, hard struggles, and you're transforming it like a butterfly into something helpful to other people. And I think it's really helping you in the process, which is a beautiful thing.
Yes, and that's my goal, is to help others. That's my calling, is to help others. And on the way, while doing that, is helping me. And I'm grateful for you and everyone who's supporting us through this journey. So thank you all. Thank you all.
So please share this episode or share our podcast with other families with teens or preteens, teachers, anyone that comes in contact with this generation of kids, to help other people be more informed. And if you can rate us in Apple Podcasts, it helps our podcast get out there more, so more people can hear it. So thank you very much for your support, and stay safe.